Hi there, everybody. I'm Brian Bedford, CEO of the Bedford Agency and Recruit Route, and thrilled today to talk to you about a complicated but new topic that has come up a lot, which is what is the difference between the revenue share agreements that have been approved as a byproduct of the House versus NCAA settlement when you compare that to NIL? And it's a good question. It's a complicated question, and it's one that has implications both in college and in high school. And so let's dig into that. So recently, and we've had it on some of our content and various other videos, we've had this settlement between a group or a class of student athletes or former student athletes versus the NCAA. It's headlined by a gentleman by the name of Grant House and several other student athletes. And it basically comprised of three things: back pay for NIL possibilities from 2016 to current, had included a rev share component for some of the student athletes in college, and then impacted roster changes and provided governance. But today, let's talk just about the revenue share piece specifically, because it is important to kind of distinguish it between true NIL. So the House settlement allows for $20.5 million to be shared by an institution to student athletes. Now, what's important is that not every group of student athletes at an institution will be part of the revenue sharing. It likely will be a subset. In most schools, it is football, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and then a combination of various other sports, like it could be women's soccer, it could be women's gymnastics, it could be softball, it could be maybe another sport that might be really important, like volleyball at a place like Nebraska or something like that. And so what we're generally seeing right now is around 6 sports per institution, and these are just really the for the most part, the Power Four institutions in the NCAA. There may be some group of five that opt into that, but it's not all. So unfortunately, if you're a swimmer or diver or cross country or something like that, you're probably not being part of the revenue share component. Now, even within that, there will be percentages. So most people think that about 75% of that $20.5 million will go to football. Another decent chunk, maybe 10% or so, will go to men's basketball, and then the rest of it will probably go to some of the other sports that were down selected out of that. That's the revenue share component. So that's basically the revenue share off of the television agreements that the NCAA or the conferences have, or the college football playoff have with the schools and or their conferences or national bodies. That will be shared appropriately or to those student athletes. There'll be no deliverable. There's no requirement. There's no endorsements. There's none of that like a true NIL deal would be. Those are literally rev share for those student athletes participating in their sport. And so they get mixed a lot. A lot of people confuse the rev share versus true NIL. True NIL will be separate from the rev share agreement. So true NIL could look like an appearance or an endorsement. It could be a camp that you run. It could be merchandise that a student athlete has. And so we're still going to see true NIL happen kind of separate from the rev share agreements. Part of the rev share agreement allows the schools to directly pay the student athletes for the rev share component of that. So you're going to see a mix of true NIL and rev share. And it's important to kind of distinguish between those two. Now, as you go down into high school, we're not really seeing a rev share component to that, but you are seeing kind of the implications of true NIL. You're seeing student athletes down in high school that are maybe after they've signed a national letter of intent, they're going ahead and signing paperwork to opt in or be part of the rev share once that comes to bear, just like maybe in previous years, you might have seen them sign a letter of intent, right? So several things are changing there. I think in the future, you're going to see multiple things that will change also with this move. So I think you're going to see changes to dates on national letter of intents. Really, the need for that's really going to kind of change or go away. really becomes a financial aid agreement between the school, or the rev share agreement between the school and the student athlete. So I think you're going to see quite a bit of that. I also think that you're going to see collectives who are kind of bridging the gap to try to kind of be that front man for some of that, will change and transform. So you're already seeing that. They're really becoming more content and experiential businesses, more marketing agencies. So you're seeing that at Penn State and at Oklahoma, several other places where their previous collective or their previous version of collective is now really a content experience agency of record. And so they're doing endorsements and autograph appearances and signings and different things that they're doing right as part of kind of true NIL. So lots happening in this space. Hopefully this gives you kind of a snapshot of really the difference between a rev share agreement and a true NIL deal. For more information, you can check us out at our website, thebedfordagency.com. You can always email us by going to thebedfordagency@gmail.com. You can also follow all of our tips on recruiting at recruit-route.com, and you can follow us on all the social medias. Either look up Bedford Agency or Recruit Route on all your platforms, YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So hope this helps, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, everyone.